सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्याप्य सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् परमानन्दमाधवम्। We'll chant the Gita Panchamrits together. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः। कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि। यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत् यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्। अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्। सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। हरि ओम्। रावणुरथी रथ रघुवीरा देखि विभीषण भयवधीरा अधिक प्रीति मन भा संदेह बंदी चरण कह सहित सनेहा। नाथ नरथ नहीं तन पद त्राण केहि विधि जित बबीर बलवाना। सुनहु सखा कह कृपा निधाना जेहि जय होई सो स्यंदन आना। So yesterday we saw that Rama and Vibhishana are on the battlefield facing Ravan. And So Ravan has come with full artillery on his chariot and he's ready to fight. And seeing this, Vibhishan, overcome with a lot of love and affection in his heart, approaches Sri Ram and says, "O Lord, you have no footwear, you have no shield, you only have your bow and arrow. How will you win this fight? He has an armor, he has an army that is so powerful. What are you going to do?" And this is not out of fear, but this is out of love. So then Bhagwan says, "Listen, O friend, I will tell you what chariot I have that will lead me to success. Sauraj dhiraj tehi ratha chaka, satya sila dridha dhwaja pataka, bala vivek dam parahit ghore, chama kripa samata rajujore." So yesterday we saw again the wheels. What were the wheels? Anybody can remember? There were two wheels. Courage and patience, perseverance. Then we saw Satya Sila Dridha Dhwaja Pataka, the flags. What are the flags? Truth and good conduct. And so this good conduct is connected to the truth. How? Because the way we tell the truth should reflect our character. It shouldn't be that we're mean but truthful. We should be kind and truthful. And it's interesting that these are the flags, because the flag was considered a sign that the chariot was, sorry, not the chariot, the warrior was safe and sound and was strong enough to fight. So in our life also, this truth and good conduct, Satya Shila, these become our indicators. They become our protectors because the flag was considered a protection. It invoked protection, but it was also an indicator that the warrior was able to fight. So for us also, if our truthfulness and our ability to be kind while being truthful is intact, then we know we're doing okay. But we notice that if our mind goes off balance or we're faced with a crisis and our ability to maintain truth and do it kindly is affected, then we know we're off track. And we see this often. Like when we're irritated, the last thing we think about is how we come across to people. And if we're put in a sticky situation, it's very easy to give in to a white lie. So these flags are important indicators for us, but they're also protection. So we see how being truthful becomes protection in itself. In Sant Kabir's life, we see that he was a simple weaver. So while weaving one day, a man comes in and says, "I need a place to hide, the police are after me." So he doesn't even look up from the weaving. He's singing his songs. And he says, "There's cotton here, jump in, cover yourself." He continues doing his own thing. No, like literally does not care. The police come along and they say, "Have you seen this man?" Kabir Das Ji again doesn't even look up. He laughs and he says, "He's there in the cotton." And the police are thinking, this man we have heard is a little crazy. So I don't, like, it doesn't look like this thief is going to hide in cotton in plain sight. And so they leave. So finally, when he hears the footsteps have gone away, the thief comes out of the cotton and says, "Are you crazy? I could have been caught. You said you'd protect me." He said, "I only told the truth. Kabir does not lie." And it's true, in every Vani that he has given us, only the truth is there. When Kabir Das Ji speaks, when he sings, there's nothing that is not true. And so again, we can go into a whole different tangent about Kabir Das Ji, but we'll come back to Vibhishan Gita. And then we saw the horses. What are the horses? Bala vivek dam parahit ghore. 4 horses. Strength on every level: body, mind, emotion, intellect. Discernment, the ability to discern what is good, what is bad, what should be done, what should not be done. What is real, what is not real. This is very important discernment for Vedantic students. Third one, Dhamma. Mastery of senses, management of senses. And the last one? A sincere concern for others. So when we have these four horses taking us forward, then we progress towards success. Now we come to what are the ropes that actually hold these horses and give us the control? The reins. And so Bhagavan says, Chama Kripa Samata Rajujore. And so these are Kshama, forgiveness, Kripa, compassion, and Samata, or equanimity, calmness of mind. So why is Kshama considered a controlling factor? Controlling I use it very generally with the reins. Kshama, both giving and asking for forgiveness can be a wonderful quality to have. The ability to say sorry and mean it, and the ability to forgive and mean it. And so forgiveness is freeing yourself from what has happened. It's not about saying what you did was okay, but it's about letting go of the hurt that you may have experienced so that you can move forward. They say forgive and forget. And yes, it's a very nice thing to say, but often it's hard to forget. And forgetfulness is not an excuse for us to allow poor behavior. So we may forgive, but it may be important to remember so that we don't put ourselves in a situation where we're taken advantage of or where we end up giving someone else the opportunity to hurt us. So we don't have that guilt or that regret moving forward when we forgive. That, oh, I didn't let go of this, or I allowed this to happen again and again. Forgiveness has these different shades to it. And sometimes it can be hard to forgive ourselves also. We may have made a mistake and we may think, how do I ask for forgiveness? So we may muster up the courage, we may ask, say, I'm sorry. And the other person may say, too bad, I don't forgive you. What are you going to do then? We have to move on with life, right? So then what we can do is we can ask for forgiveness from Bhagavan. He's full of compassion, he's full of love. So he will forgive us, but he'll also give us an opportunity to improve ourselves. So this kshama, forgiveness, is a very important quality that propels us towards success. And it's the rein. So remember, connected to strength, discernment, mastery of senses, and a sincere concern for others. When we have forgiveness, we can forgive our weaknesses and others' weaknesses. We can forgive our inability to see clearly and discern, and others. We can forgive our lack of mastery of senses and others as well. We're not perfect, so we should also extend that compassion, that forgiveness to others. And sometimes we don't operate from a place of concern for others. So the ability to forgive ourselves and others for not operating from that space is so important, no? Otherwise we end up becoming very judgmental of ourselves and others. And then what happens? More problems, more obstacles. And so there was a beautiful quote that I had read. Let go of the past, not because it is good or bad, but because it is dead. Whether it's good or bad, the past is the past. And so it's like dragging something that is dead. Well, all that's going to follow you is the stink. And that's not going to help anybody, neither you nor the people around you. So this kshama, this forgiveness, is such an important foundation for success. Along with that comes kripa, compassion. So when you think about it, to say I'm compassionate is very easy, but it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of bravery to be compassionate. Because it means we see that in this dynamic, I do have a little bit of power. And I'm not going to take advantage of that. But I'm going to help the other person and raise them up. Compassion is not sympathy. It's not feeling bad for someone. but it's knowing that you have the capacity to help them and then actually doing something about it. Sometimes we don't even know we can help someone. So then where's compassion coming from? It's just, oh, I feel bad for this person. So where are we going for dinner next? Like, no compassion whatsoever. That is not compassion. But we often misconstrue these things. And compassion is also, these are very interesting qualities: forgiveness, compassion, and um, calmness of mind. They very intertwined, very interconnected. And when you look at a rope, it's braided together. There's usually three connected together. So reins are made of rope. And so these three, as we think about it more and more, we see how interconnected they are. That if you have one without the other, it doesn't really hold as well. And once I heard a story that there was a home nurse. So there are nurses that go to different homes and they take care of their patients. And so she was visiting an old man who has dementia. And throughout the whole visit of 40 minutes, this man keeps calling to his wife and asking the same question at least 3 times. Before the wife says, "Honey, the glass is right there. Right there. Where's my glass? Glass is right there, honey. Where's the glass? Glass is right there, honey." She's so patient. She like has the most patience for her poor old dementia husband. And the nurse is thinking, this must be really hard for her. Let me ask her how she's doing. Maybe she might need a bit of support. And so she goes, "Ma'am, I want to ask you, how are you managing his forgetfulness?" She goes, "My dear, I've actually forgotten his name, but I can't bring myself to hurt his feelings and tell him that, so I just deal with it." And so this woman, she's forgotten her husband's name. Poor thing, she's old. But she has that compassion within her heart that she's like, okay, I messed up a little bit, can't remember his name, but I can extend that love to him and I can take care of him and it'll all be okay. And so, forgiveness, compassion, and the last one was calmness of mind, samatha. This samatha is an acceptance of what comes our way, but not unhappily, but with enthusiasm. Or maybe not enthusiasm, but with this sense of what has come my way is a blessing, it's an opportunity. When we're able to see opportunities in every situation, please note the difference in the word situation and opportunity. We're faced with many situations every day, but how many times do we think of them as opportunities? We all may be sitting in this class, but how many of us think of it as an opportunity to change something for the better, or an opportunity to learn something new? Same situation, but each of us has different opportunities based on who we are, what our mindset is, what we need. And so there was a story that I heard from my acharya in the course, where it's actually it's an old Chinese story. So once there was a man who lived in a very, very remote village in China, and he used to talk very funny because he had lost all his teeth, so he would only eat rice gruel. So one day he had a son, very young, strong son, and he had a beautiful white stallion. So everybody would come and look at this white horse and admire it and be like, "Wow, you have a beautiful horse, beautiful horse." And he would just be like, "Yeah, okay, thank you." And one day this horse ran away, escaped from the house, and disappeared. So nobody could find this horse. So the villagers that used to admire the horse would come to him and say, "Oh, you've lost your horse. How are you going to manage? The horse used to help you bring things back from the field, used to help you bring wood back when your son would cut wood. Poor thing, you've lost your horse. What bad luck." So this old man would sit in his chair and be like, Good luck, bad luck. Who knows? No teeth, right? So he would sound a bit funny. A few days later, the horse comes back. And what does this horse bring with him? Some 10, 12 wild horses. Equally strong, equally beautiful. And so the villagers come and they see these horses and they're like, wow, you have so many horses. So exciting. Wow, what are you going to do with all of them? What good luck this horse has brought you. Good luck, bad luck. Who knows? So these villagers are like, this guy is really weird. What is wrong with him? Like, he's old. We've lived with him long enough. It's fine. So they go, they do their own thing. And then as time goes by, the son starts to try and tame these wild horses that the home horse has brought. So he's on the horse and he's trying to fix it. The horse is obviously wild. It's never been ridden before. So it throws him off the back. And in the process, he breaks his leg. The son, not the horse. So the son has now a broken leg and he's bedridden and he used to help his father with everything. And so the villagers come, the medicine man comes, they put him in a cast, they set him down, they're like, okay, are you okay? He's like, yes, I'm fine, thank you. And then they look to the old man, they're like, your horse, man, what bad luck. This man goes,
Bad luck.
okay, so you got the gist of it, essentially. That this man had samatha down pat. Anything would happen in his life, and he would be so equanimous. He would take advantage of the situation. His son obviously went and tamed some of those horses, made the most of it, but he didn't allow his emotions to get the better of him. And this is both good emotions and not so good emotions. So remember how I said these three are intertwined? That samatha has to be paired with compassion, it has to be connected with forgiveness. Because if we allow emotions to take the lead, then we lose focus, we lose balance, and then our chariot is going here, there, everywhere. And so this samatha, paired with forgiveness, paired with compassion, is what forms the reins that help us guide our horses on the path of success. So we saw the reins, we saw the horses, we saw the reins. And so these reins are very interesting because if we leave them too loose, horses go around wild. And what happens? We get taken for a ride and we end up actually being very cowardly. If we allow the equanimity of our mind to translate as being complacent, if we allow forgiveness to translate as being reticent and allowing people to walk all over us, if we allow our compassion to be taken advantage of, and then we get taken for a ride. But too tight, we keep ourselves bound to brooding over things, regret, guilt loops where we keep thinking about the same thing. If we're unable to forgive, we're unable to have compassion, we're unable to maintain that equanimity of mind, that balance of mind, then again also we're not able to allow the horses to take us forward. And remember, these horses are good, right? Strength, discernment, care for others, mastery of senses. Very good horses. But they just need to be guided by the right reins. And so who takes the reins?
Charioteer.
The charioteer, my favorite. So these all are beautiful virtues that sit within the mind. But how can the mind assimilate them? How can the mind keep them and operate from these beautiful virtues we've seen, from the wheels to the flag to the horses to the reins? How do they stay together? How do they come together? Because of the charioteer. So, who is a good charioteer? Who's a good taxi driver? Maybe easier question to answer. One who knows the way. Who else?
Knows how to control the machine.
Knows how to control the car. Very nice.
Or drive it.
Anything else?
Drives carefully.
Drives carefully. all important qualities to have in a driver, no? Otherwise, a bit of a trouble. No matter how good your car is, if your driver is not good, you're in for a bumpy ride. Yes, knows the way where we have to go. So, a wise driver who knows the destination, he knows the path to it, and very important, actually sticks to it. Otherwise, we end up doing darshan of a whole city and we don't actually end up where we're supposed to be. And so, when we think about it, and when we hear what Bhagwan has to say, let's see what he has to say. So, ईस भजनु सारथी सुजाना बिरति चर्म संतोष कृपाना. ईस bhajanu sarathi sujana. Devotion to the higher is the charioteer that guides our chariot of success. So Isa bhajanu can be translated as devotion to God, seeking the truth, knowing and identifying with the truth. These are all devotion to the truth, to the higher, to God. In Gurudev's language, he wouldn't even necessarily translate it as God. He would always say a higher altar. And so for Gurudev, anything that helped you expand your vision and helped you broaden your horizon was a higher altar of dedication. So for some, it may be a cause, like the environment or the nation. Gurudev himself was a freedom fighter. Or it could be social service, it could be helping orphans, it could be anything really. Anything that helps you expand your vision of me, myself. That now I'm identified with this cause, I'm identified with this goal. And so we had said in the first stage, right? The whole point of this chariot of success is so that we actually achieve success. We achieve the goal that we have set out for ourselves. And so this charioteer that leads us there has to be connected to that goal, no? He has to know the goal, has to know the way to it, and has to stick to that path. So this bhajan, this identifying with the higher, with the goal, is what brings everything together and directs it in the right direction. And so it starts by cultivating love. And where there is a relationship, where we cultivate a relationship, there is their love. Devotion is love, identification, and commitment. So these three aspects come within devotion: love, identification, and commitment. Commitment to the higher, the diviner, the greater, the higher goal, that altar that we want to set for our work as our goal of success. Our goal, achieving which we would have, quote unquote, achieved success. And so, Bhagwan, or truth, being the substratum of everything, the highest goal that we can achieve, or that we can strive for, expands the mind vastly, immensely. If we think of Bhagwan, we think of omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. Such a vast goal is what spiritual seekers are after. So having that focus, having that ability to see that this is my goal is so important. And so this Isha Bhajana Sarathi Sujana is that I'm having a hard time finding a good analogy for it, but it's the thing that makes everything much better. It's the thing that holds everything. It's like the salt in the meal. You can kind of get by, but without the salt, nothing else. It brings out the flavor in everything else, and it pulls everything together and holds the dish. You know what I mean? So there are many examples of how this identification with the higher altar leads to success. We see in history, modern history, Florence Nightingale. How many of you know who Florence Nightingale is? Okay, few of you know. Did you know she was actually a very wealthy woman? She had no lack in her life. But when she saw the suffering of soldiers in the war, she dedicated her life and established what we would consider the foundations of modern nursing. Isavajana, something higher, something greater. Mahatma Gandhi, we all know. He was a frail lawyer from South Africa when he landed up in India. But when he identified with the nation and the freedom that he wanted, he became an icon. Our own Gurudev, from his own childhood, we see his expansion happen as he got older. He became a freedom fighter. Then he wanted freedom for the nation. Then, when the nation was free, he wanted freedom for all Hindus. He wanted freedom for all spiritual seekers because he felt we were bound by our own limitations. So, as he gained more knowledge and he lived it himself, we see how much he was able to do for all of us. And all that happens when we have a higher ideal, a higher altar that we are identified with. And the beauty of this charioteer also is that when we choose the higher, when we choose Bhagwan, we choose the Lord, He chooses us. In the Kathopanishad, it said, Yame Vaisha Brunate Tena Labhyaha, which means that only the one who chooses the higher attains the higher. You can't say, I want to get fit and then not go to the gym. You choose to go to the gym, you choose to do the exercise, health will choose you. The strength will choose you. It will come. So, single pointed devotion to the altar that we have set for ourselves is that link that brings all of our virtues, our skills, our talents together and channels them forward into the avenue of success. Clear so far? And another beautiful story that we see in the Mahabharata is that Arjuna and Duryodhana go to Krishna before the war starts and they want his help. Duryodhana is offered the choice after Arjuna. So Krishna says, I have two options for you, my army with full-fledged weaponry and training, or me, unarmed. So if you were to choose, what would you choose? If you think logically and you think in terms of what would be the best strategic option to pick, what would you really pick? An unarmed individual or an armed army? Army. But now if I tell you this individual is Bhagwan, who will you pick?
Bhagwan.
Will you really pick Bhagwan?
Yes.
And if you didn't know it was Bhagwan, then you pick army. Ultimately, what do we want?
Bhagwan.
No, we don't always want Bhagwan. Often we want what Bhagwan has. But he says, if you want what I have, I can give it to you. But when we choose Bhagwan, he chooses us. That's why when Arjun chose Krishna, he chose Arjuna. And he took care of him from start to finish. Even at the end of the war, traditionally the warrior will get off after the charioteer gets off. But Krishna said, no, you get off first. Only then I will get off. Because as soon as Krishna got off, the chariot burned down. And Arjuna is thinking, what happened? How did this chariot that survived 18 days of war suddenly burn down? And Krishna said, because all of the arrows and all of the astras and missiles that were shot at your chariot, I kept them in the chariot. As soon as I got off the chariot, their effect happened and this chariot burnt down. So Bhagwan chose Arjuna. He said, I will keep you safe. He didn't say it, but he did it. So when we choose Bhagwan sincerely, he himself guarantees that he will take care of us. And he tells us, don't worry also. He's so sweet. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchah. So Bhagwan says, don't worry. That can happen only when we choose him. So now we've seen Wheels, flags. We've seen the wheels, we've seen the flags, we've seen the horses, we've seen the reins that control the horses, we've seen the charioteer. Now what happens?
The chariot.
The chariot we've seen, no? Check. There we go. Okay, so obstacles arise. What do we do? What do we need to protect ourselves from obstacles? What can we use to actively overcome them? So far we've seen the chariot. That's like seeing what the car is like. Now, what are we actually doing with the car? Like, we're sitting in this chariot, and bear in mind, it's a battlefield. This is not a leisure chariot where you can just go for a garden stroll and, not like the ones that you see in Central Park in New York or in Chowpatty in Bombay. It's not those kinds of chariots. This is like a full-on war machine, so it has to be equipped. So what is a war machine equipped with? Weapons. Armor. Very nice. Weapons and armor. So Bhagwan says, don't worry. You may be thinking this is some kind of leisure chariot. No. We have lots of weapons. We have lots of protection ready for us. So Bhagwan says, Birati charma santosha kripana. Birati charma and santosha kripana. So charma is a shield and kripana is a sword. So these are close contact weapons. So this shield that protects us whenever something is attacking us. If we think a little bit, what usually attacks us? What comes all of a sudden and what stays and lingers if we don't protect ourselves from it? Thoughts. But thoughts go also, no? I have a thought and then it goes. Emotions also come and go.
Attachments keep on and on and on.
Attachment comes. But why does attachment come?
Desires.
So when these desires, these attachments, they come, they attack. So what is this shield that protects us when they attack? Any ideas? If you've come for class before, you will probably know this one. Class for Komal. Virati, dispassion, or vairagya, as we call it. This is the shield. So the question then comes, how did I get attached in the first place, right? Why do I need this shield? What am I doing that I'm getting attached? So what happens? Why am I getting attached? Very good. Because I think XYZ will give me happiness. And so I think about it more and more and more and more. And then I get attached to the idea of it, and then I want it. And then this whole cycle of what we call samsara continues. So as a child, I want a toy box. Then I get older, and then I want Xbox. Then I get older, and then I want something else that comes in a box, whether it's a watch, a bracelet, jewelry, earrings, something I want. How did I let go of all those other things? How come my Xbox desire allowed me to let go of toy box desire? Because?
At that time it was of use. Later on something better came up.
Something better has come along And so I let go of what no longer interests me, no longer serves me. So this outgrowing of something or a desire for something is what we call virati, dispassion, detachment. And so it's not a mere indifference or like an emotionless behavior towards something, but it's this foundation of independence that I don't need XYZ object. I don't need toy box, Xbox, watch box to be happy. Important difference to note. Some random, era gera is walking on the road. I don't have anything to do with him, so I'm indifferent. But my child, my sibling, my spouse is walking on the street and they ignore me, oh, that really hurts. Why? Because attachment. Because I had expectation that they will respond to me. Because I wanted something from them. I wanted something from that relationship. Thinking that will make me happy, that will make me content, that will make me satisfied, that will make me peaceful. That's the only reason we have an attachment to anything, really. Deep, deep down, we think it will make us happy. And so when we have dispassion, when we're able to see that I can be happy with or without this. And so this is something we can try. Exercise for us to try. To list what do I really need to be happy? Or let's say it this way. What do I think will make me happy? And then in that list, identify what do I really need to be happy? Then we can see how to start our journey to dispassion or detachment. So, Birati Charma, the shield that protects us. And interestingly, connecting it back to the charioteer, that when we have love, when we have devotion towards something, this detachment automatically comes. And we see this a lot in parents, actually. That when the child is there, automatically they will let go of so many things that they used to like. Child needs me, therefore I am able to let go of whatever it is. Someone I love, someone I'm attached to, someone I have affection for, if they say, let's do XYZ, let's go for a movie. I don't like movies, but I'll still go. I'll let go of that dislike so that they can be happy. So where there is love, there is sacrifice. Where there is sacrifice, there is the ability to detach. And so when I have that higher goal, then my mind doesn't have the time or the energy to engage in things like, I like this, I don't like this, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. It's all just silence. My beloved wants this, needs this, has said they want to do this, I will do. So this is why we see that the mother and child relationship, the guru and shishya relationship, the Bhagavan and Bhakta relationship is so sweet because both parties are able to detach to a certain extent what they want because it's for the sake of the beloved. So when there is love, there is the ability to outgrow, there's the ability to let go. And so we move past trends very easily if we notice. Hong Kong's that kind of place. Trends come, trends go. I remember growing up, frozen yogurt was a huge thing. You would find like one every two stores. Within 2 years, half of them closed down. And then what came up? These random Japanese pastry shops. Again, 1-2 years, closed down. How quickly we as a city can move through trends. We're able to detach like this. So we have it within us. Now we just have to apply it in a little bit more of a productive way that brings us closer to success. And so employ your detachment wisely because you have it. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I can't detach. I'm very attached. We have it in us. We use it all the time. We just have to apply it to the right place. So, Virati Charma Santosha Kripana. So now I'm very detached. Okay, very good. But then what happens? I have expectation that I should stay detached all the time. Expectation of myself. Or I'm detached, so I expect everybody please recognize I'm detached. I'm not attached to anything. But what happens is these rigid expectations, when they're not fulfilled, what happens? They get frustrated. And when I get frustrated, I get angry. And when I'm angry with because I have an unfulfilled expectation or an unfulfilled desire, cycle goes down. It's essentially satyanas. And then when my expectation is fulfilled, I get greedy. I think, oh, it's happened. Now it'll happen again and again and again and again. And one is never enough. So then what happens? I'm not content. I may be detached, but I may not be content with what I have. Because contentment is the sword that cuts it off. Cuts off all sense of unnecessary desire, unnecessary expectation. And how do we develop contentment? There's a very nice word everybody uses nowadays.
Gratitude.
Very good. Gratitude. Gratitude is the best attitude. But it's not an empty saying. When we have gratitude in our heart, as a result, there's no anger. I can't be angry because I already have so much. What am I actually looking for? What am I actually setting myself up for in terms of desire or expectation? I don't really need anything more. In fact, I'm so happy, I'm more willing to give. So this giving also becomes another weapon in our chariot to success. Dana parasu. So these two go together, the sword of contentment and the axe of charity, the ability to give. So another exercise to try. Maintain a consistent gratitude journal for 5 days. Take the weekend off. Monday to Friday. Maintain 5 things. And I'm sure you all have heard this multiple times. But these simple tools compound into great results. And I'm sure we all like a good investment here, no? So invest in these 5 points in a day and see how that compound interest gives you great results. And it's a sword. So the more you sharpen it, the more effective it will be. So sharpening the sword of contentment means keeping count of the things I am grateful for. And it's ironic, actually. Guruji writes this in his commentary, that we have a lot of contentment when it comes to spiritual activity or sadhana or nice things that we do. Like, yeah, I've done japa, 1 mala I did. I'm very content. Today is going to be a good day. But I tell you, count money. Some people can go on counting. Or I think more likely people are very happy to count steps. Here everybody is very obsessed with, not obsessed, it's a very harsh word. They're very interested in maintaining their step count. And then if we go to some phases that people are going through, they like to count calories also. So we're not very content when it comes to counting these things, but we're very content when it comes to counting how many times a day we remember Bhagwan or how many times we have done japa. Ironic, no? We want God to help us with all of our things. We want God to bless us, but we don't want to remember God. How will that work? Okay, I won't scold anybody anymore. But interesting to note that these are the things we are very content with. And what are the things we are not so content with? What are we developing greed for? Are we developing greed for more things outside? Or are we developing more greed to love Bhagwan? Are we developing more greed for time to chant his name, to sing his glories, to spend time in satsang? What are we greedy for? Food for thought. There was a lovely story that I heard that I think will give us a bit more of an idea on what contentment can look like. And so once there was a stone cutter. His job was to cut stone. Very simple. But he used to feel like, oh, I don't have enough money. And so there used to be the merchant that would come and purchase all of this stone and take it and sell it to the king. So he saw the merchant and he was like, this merchant has a lot of money. Wouldn't it be nice to be the merchant? Lo and behold, in the next moment, he was the merchant. So he thinks, wow, this is great. Okay, so he goes and he buys stones and he goes to the king and sells stone to the king and whatever his requirements are. And he sees the king sitting on the throne and he thinks, wow, this king is living it up. He's got servants, he's got food, he's got everything. Wouldn't it be nice to be the king? And then suddenly he looks, he's the king. So he's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm just going to live it up. So he's the king and he says, let's go for a walk in the garden. Let's see how my rose bushes are growing. And we'll go for a walk. And then he thinks, oh, it's really hot. Then he looks around and he sees the sun is shining, literally like last week's type sun, burning. He thinks, oh, the sun is so strong and powerful. Wouldn't it be cool to be the sun? Then I don't have to deal with the heat. Next thing you know, he is the sun. So he's shining and he's happy, living his life, shining on everybody, doesn't realize how much heat he's emitting. And then one day he feels something's wrong. And he looks around him and he sees there's a huge cloud that's blocked him. And he thinks, oh, wouldn't it be good to be the cloud? How much power this cloud has blocking me. What happens? He becomes a cloud. Then he becomes a cloud and he thinks, okay, now I'm powerful. I can block the sun. And then suddenly he sees the sun is going further and further and further away and he thinks, what's going on? And then he realizes the wind is carrying him away. And he's like, oh, there's something more powerful than this cloud. It's the wind. I want to be the wind. So then he becomes the wind. And so he's blowing, 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 blowing. And he thinks, I can move anything. I'm so powerful. And then he realizes he can't move something. And he's like, oh, it's a rock. And then he thinks, this rock is very powerful. What if I became the rock? So he becomes a rock. And he's there and he's enjoying. He's like, nothing can move me. I'm just here. I'm so powerful. Ow. And he's like, what was that? Then he turns and he looks and he sees it's a stone cutter. Interesting how contentment can save us so much trouble. And so one way for us to practice this, we can try. Just choose. Just choose to be happy in this moment. No need to go from stone cutter to merchant to king. Just choose in this moment. I'm going to be happy. No matter who is around me, no matter what I'm dealing with, no matter how irritating the person in front of me is being. Just choose. And see what happens. I think enough exercises for today. So we'll just quickly go through what we saw. We saw the ropes. What were the ropes? 3 ropes. Forgiveness, compassion, equanimity, or calmness of mind. Then we saw who's controlling these ropes, or should be at least.
Charity.
Charioteer is who? That's Bhagavad Gita answer. What is Vibhishan Gita answer? Is bhajan sarathi sujana. Have love and dedication for a higher altar, a higher goal. Then we saw the shield and the sword. What were the shield and the sword? What protects us from attack?
Dispassion.
Dispassion. And what can we use to help cut? Contentment. Very good. And so Bhagwan goes on further to describe a lot more, but we can see that tomorrow. We'll sing the Lord's name and conclude.
राम भक्त हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
राम भक्त हनुमान तेरी
जय हो वीर महान। पवन पुत्र हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
पवन पुत्र हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
राम की महिमा तुम्हारी जानी।
राम की महिमा तुम्हारी जानी।
राम मूरत हम है अज्ञानी।
राम मूरत हम है अज्ञानी।
ये तो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
दे दो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
दे दो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
दे दो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान। राम भक्त हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान। पवन पुत्र हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान। राम की महिमा तुम्हारी जानी। हम मूरत हम है अज्ञानी। दे दो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान। दे दो हमको ज्ञान तेरी जय हो वीर महान। हनुमान तेरी जय हो वीर महान।
सर्वे
भवन्तु सुखिनः। सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः। सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु। मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय। तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय। मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते। पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।